February, and we're going to review our year ends. Bob, you want to make sure you've got a quorum, please?
Yes. Directors, please indicate your attendance when I call your name. Director Fagan?
Present.
Director Wilson?
Present.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Awesome. All right, so let's do the first things first. Information item I1 is the AES streetlights utility relocation agreements. Rachel, there she is, Rachel Wilson, just for the record, no relation.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rachel Wilson, Project Manager, and I'm here to present action item A7, which is the recommendation that the Board of Directors authorize President and CEO to execute 4 utility relocation agreements with AES Indiana for an amount not to exceed $830,000. And this is to relocate the streetlights along the Blue Line corridor that are in conflict with the design. So some background, Blue Line has a lot of utility coordination. A lot of utilities are going to need to be relocated, including several streetlights along the corridor. And we have agreements that are in draft version with AES. There are 4 of them, geographically just different segments along the route. And I'm here to just make sure the budget passes before we execute all those agreements. And we follow the City of Indianapolis procedure where AES performs all the work and their work is reimbursed 100%. So that covers about everything. Are there any questions?
This is separate from our other utility agreement, right? Separation agreement. This is a separate agreement just for the streetlights?
Specific, yep, to AES. Yes. Yeah, we previously heard action items specifically for citizens. This
Okay.
is AES only.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was on the same page. Okay, thanks. Do you have any questions, Mary?
I don't,
Rachel?
thank you.
Rachel, thank you. All right, and now let's move on to Brian Clem. Brian, we're going to talk about our yearly insurance renewal extension.
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the board, my name is Brian Clem, Director for Risk and Safety for IndyGo. I bring to you today information item regarding the 2025 insurance policy renewal extensions.
Yeah, this is all my fault, Brian. Sorry to do this to you.
You're all right. It's nobody's fault. Subject. First of all, let's talk a little bit about 2025. The board of directors, we always want to report to you what our findings were for the market updates and our recent procurement for insurance. The alignment follows strategies intended for best alignment for fiscal budgeting, better forecasting market fluctuations, align yearly policy renewals, and future insurance broker services. This is believed to be an open market competition, assist in driving down cost and budget, and increasing our efficiency of staff and the reducing administrative burdens. So there's a lot that's kind of packed into this report here that we've supplied for you. So a little bit of background. IPTC leadership is committed to providing the board of directors the renewals information. The current insurance broker, Aon, reached out to our insurance markets early in October of 2024 and solicited in the market for risk to place coverages. Based on Aon's renewal strategy, current lines of coverage were extended 6 months from January 1st through July 31st of 2025. Historically, policy coverages were written from a January 1st to a December 31st of that year. What we're doing is we're moving forward with renewals that will cover 1 full year that will commence on July 1st of that year for the full year to June 31st of that year. So we're moving the renewal dates, which will align with our fiscal budgeting. So instead of beginning of the year to end of year, now we're doing fiscal budgeting. So kind of makes sense and better allows us to tool and budget in advance. In For this year's renewal, IPT selected an option also for a $2,000 credit savings by removing vehicle coverages while the buses are in service. It's a little odd how our broker has added rolling stock bus coverage into property values. So we've experienced a result last year with a claims loss. The incumbent carrier wanted to make some changes to limit their risk and liability, but still provide us the same amount of coverages. And that's why that option was presented to us, so that when the buses are rolling down the street, we would insure them, self-insure as we do for rolling stock, like your car, and it wouldn't be classified just in the property portfolio that says that the vehicle is part of the property or on property. So kind of makes sense.
One more time, run this by me one more time so I make sure I understand this. So when the bus is parked out here, it's part of the property coverage, but when it's
Yes.
running down the street in revenue service or out of service, going to the garage or whatever, and something happens, then we just pick up the tab. We self-insure
Yes,
for that.
yes, we would, if we were liable in that case. If we're not, then we're going after the other party.
Right. No, I understand, but I guess what I'm saying, I just wanted to make sure it's clear in my mind. So if there was something that happened to the bus while it was parked, like there was a fire,
Yeah,
then it's covered. If
Yes,
we're
sir.
driving down the street and somebody hits us, then it's not.
yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, thanks what I want to make sure. Thank you.
So a little bit of savings there. Meat and potatoes resulted this year with a property increase of 21 cents per dollar up to 23 cents per dollar. IPT's insurable values and property increased by 22% over the last year. So our property that we insure went from 307 million to 375 million, which the retained limits policy for Munich Re increased 11% related to the number of buses and rolling stock that we had. So we went from 213 buses to 230 buses, which was overall an 8% increase. The retaining lines of coverage for directors, officers, crime, employment practices, cyber were very favorable due to a clean loss run in history and a good relationship that we currently have with our carriers and the market. And I want to mention or highlight in here that the cyber coverage, our teams here at IndyGo have done exceptionally well with cyber protection and cyber coverage. We actually saw a decrease of 35% over last year, so that's great. Lines of insurance coverage for the 6 month for 2025 came in at a renewal value of $643,600.53, resulting in an estimated 24% increase over last year's numbers. And most of that was due to a recent bus fire loss and claim that we submitted, as well as the overall property value change since we've got the Purple Line buses and the new infrastructure that's now in place. Attached below in your, I put below in my notes, but in your board packet actually is a comparison that shows year over year for what our renewal values came in at compared to the previous year, which gives you a total amount for the first 6 months of this year at that $643,653.
Okay.
A lot of information there, and I'll take any questions that you have.
Could you scroll up just a little bit? Back to page 8, just a little bit. Towards the bottom of the page. There we go. Okay, thank you. Brian, you think you and your team did a pretty good job on this. I mean, it is what it is, right? With increased property values and increasing costs of insurance. So we're going to.
Yeah, I really hate that term, but the market sets the market.
Right.
And we kind of go with the flow or left with what the market presents to us. They did reach out to other carriers. There wasn't a lot of interest due to the amount of time with that renewal period of end of year to get very favorable results.
Right.
But we did work with our incumbent carriers to renew coverage. We believe in the future, there's several things taking place with the broker coverage that will go out for RFP and solicitation.
All right, when's that happen, Brian?
That will happen this year. It will more than likely go out around May,
Okay,
and we look to award by October.
Okay.
And then we'll bring that new carrier on to start business with IndyGo at the very first of the year, which gives us 6 months of the next term policy to prepare for IndyGo's account so we can get the best marketing rate that's out there and available.
okay. That sounds like a plan. Mary Ann, did you have anything for Brian?
I don't think, how many companies are we talking about? How many companies is our whole package?
There are currently 7 different underwriters with our current lines of coverage.
Yeah.
Now, in the past, one carrier was not able to supply the amount of coverage, so we had to use a tier tower structure with multiple companies that would go down in a tower to cover the amount of property that we had. Within the last year, when we contracted with Liberty Mutual, they had the capacity in the market to cover the full amount. And at this time, they can still cover the full amount, but we will go out to bid. I think it's important that we test the market and we push the market as much as we can to try to get the best rates that we can.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
All
good.
right, appreciate it. Thank
Hey,
you.
hey, Brian, thank you, man. Like I said, you guys did a bang up job on this. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, thanks.
All right, that takes care of our insurance. Next is, my favorite part of the committee meeting, the finance report, CFO Bart Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Bart Brown, CFO. This is not only the December 2024 financial summary, but it actually is the year-end unaudited report for the operating budget. The audit is currently going on, and we will have that to the board for review by June 30th of this year. I will just go over the year-end results on this, but of course you have the full report in your packet. So starting on the revenue for federal assistance, we came in over budget for the year by $468,786, which represents 3.6%. Other operating revenue category for the year was over budget by $1,544,736, or 51.6%. Passenger service revenue for the year was over budget by $201,271, 3.4%. Our PMTF grant came in exactly at $11,369,828, which is what we budgeted. Property tax revenue for the year ended over budget by $1,349,768, 3.4%. Local income tax, this is just the operating side, was over for the year, $1,395,541. Any overages, we moved over to the capital budget, other than this $1.3 million. The service reimbursement program for the year was under budget by just $17,624, or a negative 4.2%. So the total revenue that was brought in for 2024 was over budget by a total of $4,942,479, or 4.3%. Moving down to expenditures, personnel services. Fringe benefits for the year, it was under budget by $2,457,866, or minus 11.1%. Overtime expenses were over budget for the year, $2,705,645, or 83.3%. And salary was under budget for the year at $4,684,910, or negative 9%. All of personnel services category for the year was under budget, $4,437,131, or negative 5.7%. Other services and charges. Claims for the year was under budget by $511,236, or 12.5%. Then miscellaneous expense category was over budget by $53,050 at 5.4%. Purchase transportation for the year was over budget, $2,844,000, or 286, or 26.6%. The services expense category for the year was under budget by $3,420,843, or negative 11.4%. Utility budget was under budget for the year, $385,744 or negative 15.9%. Overall, other services charges for the year was under budget, $1,420,487 or negative 2.9%. Materials and supplies, fuel and lubricant category for the year was under budget, $349,054 and negative 5.4%. And maintenance materials was over budget for the year, $76,367 or 1.1%. Other materials and supplies for the year was under budget, $1,097,267 or negative 55.7%. And finally, tires and tubes for the year was under budget, $76,608 or negative 11.7%. Then for the total year for material supplies category was under budget, $1,466,562 or negative 9.1%. And then total expenditures overall for the year were under budget, $7,304,181 or which is a negative 9.1%. And then under the non-budget requests, there were none for the month of December. And Mr. Chair, that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions the committee may have.
All right. Mary Ann, did you have anything for Bart?
No, thank you, Bert. Great.
You're welcome.
I love it. I love it. I love it when a plan comes together, Bart. Thanks. So let's see, that's everything. So if there's nothing further, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
You think of that now.
Well, you just never know.
Always.
That's true.
You could guarantee us.
Well, honestly, the only reason that I wanted to go, I figured it was 15, 20 minutes maybe. But the only reason that I wanted to do 3 instead of 3:30 was because I didn't want to, something came up. I didn't want to run into the 4
Yeah.
o'clock, you know? So I wanted to make sure we had plenty of time in between the two. Oh, the executive session.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, because we don't have to post, well, we do have to post it.
Yeah, it's posted in the time as well, but I don't know the time that it's just posting just so immediately. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. All right, well, I guess we can move right now.
I'll get over to my other spot.
Let's shift right.
W2 here.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Have I got my, hey, Justin, have I got my W-2 yet? Yeah, or 1099 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, I figured if you, I'm just gonna say, if you got yours, I probably got mine. I may not have gotten.
I usually pull mine off, but whenever I need it.
I think I did pull mine off, baby, but
Oh,
do
okay.
they usually mail it to you?
Or
Well,
W2s or anything.
1099s. Let me have. Sayings about. You know. Actually, the Nietzsche was the other day, so let me see where they are.
Okay, thanks.
well,
I'm gonna run back over there.
I'm gonna have to, I guess I'm gonna have to call my accountant and say, don't start yet, don't start yet.
Yeah.
Although he's pretty good about something that was on last year.
Yeah.
She calls me and says, hey, Rick, are you still, you know, doing what? I'm like, oh, yeah.
Dan about having a little bit of trouble with the CSSC and things. It's not really good on them.
Well,
I'm good.
no, I might get another couple. Hey, Brett, when you get a minute, can I talk to you offline? Got something? Good.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what I was thinking. I couldn't swear.
We've got so much money, Kim.
Hi, Bill.
Hello. The wonders of technology.
I know. Are those your works of art?
Um, these are works of art in a hotel room in Naples, Florida. Greg.
Oh, I've got works of art behind me and I'm in Colorado Springs,
That's,
Colorado.
since you asked that, I get to work in that I'm in Naples, Florida.
Yeah, well, I figured that.
Colorado's cold, right?
Oh, it's almost exactly the same weather we have at home.
Well, the weather, I'll just,
Yeah,
the weather's here is a little bit different.
right.
Are you skiing? Do you ski?
No, no. I used to, but now, I've got
No, you've had some, yeah. I mean,
yeah, with a right
I'm
knee
recalling some of your
replacement
recent-
and two hip replacements. No, they would,
Okay.
I'd probably be done walking. No, I'm out here for a meeting. I got out here yesterday and had to go up to Fort Collins for a meeting, then drove down here. It was a long day yesterday, man. So about 5 hours of driving and
Is there snow there as well?
oh yeah, it's literally that we have more snow than they have here. I mean, it covers the ground, but just barely. It snowed this morning for a while, but no, it's like
Good afternoon, everyone. The IndyGo Board of Directors meeting on Thursday, February 20th is called to order. Board Chair Greg Hahn is unavailable well, he is actually available to attend. He's online. But I am your vice chair and I'll be chairing the meeting today. Bob, would you please call roll?
Yes, and directors, just for a point of order, we have two board members that are online, and they are able to participate online because we can see them and hear them. So I will be calling your name. The directors online, if you could indicate your attendance when I do call your name. And just wanted to clarify that. So they're not here present, but they can participate. But because Director Hahn is virtual, he did delegate chairmanship of this meeting to Vice Chair Gardner. So with that, directors, please indicate your attendance when I call your name. Director Stinson.
Here.
Director Quick.
Present.
Director Fagan.
Here.
Director Wilson.
Present.
Director Gardner.
Present.
Director Hahn.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Bob. Next up is item 2, awards and accommodations. President and CEO Jennifer Pierce will present any awards and accommodations we have this month.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to pull up a couple photos. First of all, we always start with our safe drivers. So the following operators were recognized for their safe driving for the month of January, and they received a National Safety Council patch, pin, and certificate. That is our list, and we're gonna call out specifically Cameron Irwin. Cameron is a coach operator with 28 years of service to IndyGo, 23 of those safe driving records. So congratulations, Cameron, and thank you for being. Next is our November Operations Employee of the Month, Anthony White. Anthony was nominated and has an amazing summary here of why he was nominated. Says he is an exceptional professional who consistently exemplifies professionalism and punctuality. His commitment to providing a positive experience for passengers is evident in the respectful way he interacts with them. Anthony approaches each day with a bright and optimistic attitude, taking great pride in his work as a representative of IndyGo. His calm demeanor and articulate tone of voice have proven effective in de-escalating potential issues that may arise during his shifts, ensuring a smooth and pleasant journey for all passengers. Anthony embodies the qualities of humility and dedication, consistently strives to give his best, setting an example for his peers through his outstanding work ethic. Anthony stands out as a model employee committed to enhancing the experience of everyone he serves. So congratulations, Anthony. And then we have our February Mechanic of the Month, Chris Porter. Mr. Porter holds himself to best-in-class standards for the quality of his work. He's a self-starter and very reliable. His dedication to safety is world-class. He never leaves anything to chance while working on an issue. Chris responds to numerous demands from multiple departments and locations during his shift. He is always courteous and does a very good job of communicating with his internal customers, including me. Thank you, Chris. His dedication to high standards, reliability, and safety are key to his being selected as Employee of the Month. Congratulations, Chris. And finally, I don't have a slide for it, but I would like to welcome a new board member this month, Bill Stinson. As you heard, is joining us virtually today. He will be in person in our March board meeting and attended already his first committee meeting. He recently retired from a 35-year career in public and private leadership roles. Most recently, he worked as a senior director of public affairs for the Indianapolis International Airport, where he was for 8 years. As a member of their executive team, he was involved in marketing, public affairs, and strategic planning. He's also served as executive director of the Indiana State Fair Commission, as deputy commissioner for the State Department of Administration and Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles, and deputy and director of the Indiana Secretary of State's office. He is a graduate of Xavier University with the BS in Urban Studies and has participated in several community engagement roles, including as board member for Westside Chamber of Commerce, Heartland Film Festival, New Hope of Indiana, and Indy Parks and Recs. We're really thrilled to have you with us. Director Stinson, thank you for joining our board of directors, and we're excited to work with you. That is all I have.
Thank you, Jennifer, and welcome. I echo those welcomes of welcome, echo those
Words of welcome.
words of welcome. Thank you. Been a tongue twister.
Thank
To-
you. Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Excellent. Moving on to item number 3, committee reports, and without objection, we will enter the service committee reports. Just service? Oh.
That is because finance just met.
That's right. Okay, we'll enter service. Getting used to this new rhythm. We'll enter the service committee reports for its meeting on February 13th into the record. Next up on our agenda is item number 4, the regular agenda. We will begin with action item A1, consideration and approval of the January 16th board meeting minutes. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
So moved.
I'll pick one as a motion and the other as a second. Perfect. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Wait a minute, wait, Bob. Can we do that with them virtual?
Yeah, we should do a roll call vote
Oh.
with some virtual
Good
participation.
catch.
So directors, please indicate your vote on the present motion when I call your name. Director Stinson. Director Stinson, you may be muted.
You're muted, Bill.
Sorry about that. Aye.
Director Quick,
Aye.
Director Fagan, Director Wilson,
Aye.
Director Gardner,
Aye.
Director Hahn.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next up is action item A2, consideration and approval of Microsoft Office 365 licensing presented by Mr. Burnside.
Yeah, thank you very much. Get this mic here. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marcus Burnside. I'm Chief Information Officer for IndyGo. I'm here to present my first action item. Action item A2, consideration and approval of Microsoft Office 365 licensing.
Marcus, is the mic up?
Yes.
I'll lean into it a little bit more,
Okay.
okay? Put down there, okay, I'm sorry. All right. It is recommended that the Board of Directors authorize the President and CEO to enter into a purchase agreement to renew our annual Microsoft Office 365 licensing for the final year of our 3-year Microsoft Enterprise Agreement with Dell Marketing, an amount not to exceed $123,809. IndyGo uses Microsoft products for several applications and services to perform day-to-day functions. Since the Microsoft products are licensed or subscription-based, these products are subject to replacement or have price changes based on Microsoft licensing lifecycle model. The purchase allows IPTC to maintain fixed pricing through March 31st, 2026. This Microsoft licensing renewal does not include Microsoft Dynamics 365. That will probably be an action item for next month. This is the final year of our current Microsoft EA agreement. IPTC will enter into a new three-year Microsoft EA contract with the qualified Microsoft 365 vendor next year. This project will be funded by the Information Technology Operating Budget. So for comparison, the Microsoft Office licensing cost in 2023 was $118,095, and in 2024 is $119,690. And again, for 2025, it's $123,809. And so the cost increase for 2025 is due to a change from Microsoft that replaced current licensing with the higher cost product. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, Marcus. Are there any questions or? Yep.
Hey, Marcus.
Yes.
Is there any negotiation on this, or does Microsoft just, stick us with $4 or $5 grand a
Both.
year?
Both. Microsoft, it depends on the vendor where you get your best pricing from. So the larger the vendor, you probably get, or if you're like a gold partner versus a bronze or a silver partner, you get better pricing. but it's based off of the market price and it's based off of volume. So you mix the two together and then you get your price. A lot of times they will go and over like a 3-year period, they will make one license that you're using that may be cheap, make that obsolete and replace it with one that's higher. So like, for instance, the one that we had to replace in this procurement it went from like $35 to like $82 a license. And then we had 400 of those. So you see the price delta was a little bit extreme, but that happens from time to time. And you will probably, I'm sorry to say this, see that next month with Dynamics 365. The pricing model changed a little bit with that too, so.
We're held hostage because we're using this Microsoft.
It's not necessarily held hostage. Every vendor has their own pricing when it comes to their platform. So if you use any other software product, whether it's PeopleSoft or ADP or SAP, they're going to have their pricing model, and then they're going to have some things that's going to deprecate in their pricing in their software licensing. And they're going to introduce a new license that may have additional features, but you're going to have to pay more. So each company that has each cloud provider has that type of model in place, and it's usually cycles every 3 years where they actually do product replacement. And then you may internally have to make adjustments to how you actually leverage those licenses.
But we can't negotiate on the price of the license.
We can negotiate licensing to a certain point, but it's not fixed. It's not really that negotiable. It's going to be like pennies to the dollar.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay.
And Darius, I had a question on that as well.
Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Is the Dell marketing, is that the Dell computer? Is that who we're going through, the big Dell? Or is this something?
Yes. Yes. So they have two brands. They have Dell Technologies and they have Dell Marketing.
Because we're going
But
through
it's
the
all
same
under the-
thing at my business, and I thought, what you just said is absolutely correct. I mean, unless you're dealing with some of these big guys, you're not going to even get this good a deal, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And no matter what your partnership, it depends on the vendor, which you can get more favorable license that they can leverage through their partnership with Dell.
Now, are we going to have to go through, are we going to have to do like the chat thing, the AI?
Oh, that's a totally different dilemma, I would say, because there's a lot of policies we have to put in place for that type of technology to be used internally. So we're working on that also.
And that'd be on top of this, correct?
It will be included in one of the licensing product. If you use it comes with Windows automatically, so it's pretty much free whether you use whether we license or not. But a lot of the licenses that we have a lot of that a lot of the enterprise level products embedded into the license itself. So there's a consumer one and then there's a commercial enterprise one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And Marcus, what type, you mentioned that there were different kind of classifications.
Right.
What are we classified as?
We're getting government pricing, but the licenses it depends on the end user. So if you're using only email only, then there's a certain license that's usually a lower cost. But like people like regular office folks that use the Word, Excel, Outlook, and so forth, that's a different license, and it costs more because you're licensing all those products and included into that price.
Yep.
So it's going to vary probably like from $33 to it can always go up to like $300 something.
Okay. Any other questions for Marcus? Thank you, Marcus. I'll ask for a motion for approval for Microsoft Office 365 licensing. Can I get a second?
Second.
I think we'll have to do a roll call vote.
Yes, directors, on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Stinson,
Aye.
Director Quick,
Aye.
Director Fagan,
Aye.
Director Gardner,
Aye.
Director Hahn.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next up is action item A3, consideration and approval of Avail annual maintenance and cloud hosting services presented by, again, Mr. Burnside.
Thank you. My second action item tonight is action item A3. consideration and approval of Avail annual maintenance and cloud hosting services. So it's recommended that the Board of Directors authorize the President and CEO to approve the annual maintenance and service purchase with Avail Technologies for cloud hosting, equipment maintenance, and vehicle location management in an amount not to exceed $226,483. Avail Technologies CAD AVL system connects vehicles with their back office scheduling and dispatching software and collects vital data for dispatch use, including GPS location of our vehicles, scheduled adherence status, breakdowns, and emergencies. Also integrates with our system to pass essential information to vehicle peripherals and passenger information systems. The Avail Technologies CAD AVL contract continues through February 28th of 2026. In August of last year, we migrated our Avail infrastructure from on-premise to a cloud service that they host at their data center. We also implemented a yard management module for fleet management, vehicle management. This procurement will allow IPTC to purchase licensing, maintenance support, and cloud hosting services for its production environment from March 1st, 2025 through February 28th, 2026. This project will be funded from the information technology operating budget. The cost of Avail cloud hosting and maintenance for 2025, again, through the end of the contract, again, is going to be $226,483. We will be working with Avail Technologies on a contract extension and hosting equipment, cloud hosting equipment, maintenance, and vehicle location management towards the end of the year, Q4 of 2025. And the future and physical impact will be disclosed at the beginning of next year. Be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Marcus regarding this one?
The same
Similar
question we had last
The
time.
same time we
Yeah.
had last time, we had the year before that too, yeah.
And the strategy, I guess, for just 1 year.
This is if the contract started off as a 5, I think it was a 5+2. We exercised the 2 already, so
Okay.
it's going to be ending in 26. And then we're going to talk to them about any contract extension from that point on.
And do they have, I remember when we were at the APTA conference, are
Yeah,
they
they're at every
lodging
conference.
some new kind of versions of this?
Kind of, sort of. I think they all are trying to compete each other. They're looking over each other's shoulders, seeing what everybody else is doing at these conferences and so forth. So they send out spies, but they're doing more portable, trying to do more portable, smaller implementations. They also do a lot of other things. They have their own CRM and their own ERP system. So they kind of cater towards the all-in-one, like smaller agency, but we use them for just our bus fleet itself.
Good.
So, I'm sorry.
Nope, you go right ahead.
Hey, Marcus,
Mhm.
so is this like every time we get a new bus, we got to buy a new license or add a new license or add a new, whatever it is, the fee for, or is it, or do we get like bulk pricing on?
We get bulk pricing. The maintenance cost has been pretty much fixed for the last 5 years. The new cost that is associated with this purchase is purely the cloud hosting and the yard maintenance module that was added on.
Okay.
So before that, I would say the maintenance cost was a fixed cost around $140,000 every year
Okay.
until we added the new services. And to answer your question, other question, when we buy a bus, we buy a kit from Avail and it gets installed on each bus that we buy. But again, the maintenance cost still stays flat. So the only cost we
You got
incur,
the upfront cost of buying the kit.
right,
and
but then
after
the
that,
maintenance
we're good?
cost, right.
Okay, all right.
All right. Hearing no other questions, I'm going to ask for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We'll do a roll call vote, and this is on the Avail annual maintenance and cloud hosting services.
Yes, directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Stinson,
Aye.
Director Quick, Director Fagan, Director Wilson, Director Gardner,
Aye.
Director Hahn.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Marcus. Next, we have action item A4, consideration and approval of license renewal and construction program and project management software. There's a lot in there. E-Builder, presented by Sarah Stentz.
Hello, good afternoon. Sarah Stunt, Senior Project Manager, Capital Facilities Projects. I'm here to recommend that the Board of Directors authorize the President and CEO to execute a one-year renewal contract with eBuilder for the continued use of their construction and project management software in an amount not to exceed $150,000. A cloud-based software as a service platform, eBuilder was developed for and is used throughout the construction industry for project documentation and control purposes, due in large part to the robust nature of our capital investment program. It has become a cornerstone of our project management practices, and that it helps us to ensure that all change management, invoices, pay applications, review, approval, and reporting processes are handled appropriately. Additionally, eBuilder is the repository for all of our field inspection reports, our contracts, and other critical design drawings and construction documents. The visibility that it's able to offer us and everyone on our teams really ensures that we don't have things that get missed throughout the life of a project. The platform is currently being used to manage documents and processes on all of our BRT projects, as well as most of our roadway projects and our capital facilities projects as well. Our license currently allows us to have unlimited users as well as unlimited projects within the program, and it includes consultants and our contractors as well. We can also use the platform for things like submittals, reviews, and other kinds of approvals, and we see it as a secure filing sharing option for us as well. We'd like to continue to use eBuilder to the best of our advantage throughout the life of the Blue Line and continue to reassess every year its use and its continued renewal. I'd be happy to answer any questions about the program.
Thanks, Sarah. Are there any questions? Yep.
So Sarah, help me understand your logic. If we can lock in, because I've noticed there's a 47% increase over the last 5 years with this software.
Mhm.
If we know we're going to be using it for the Blue Line, why don't we do a multiple year or next year contract with them and try to lock in the price?
That's a great question. So the original contract, my understanding, would have been executed before my time with IndyGo, but it did include the initial setup for the program as well as a 3 to 5 year extension on the contract originally. The contract originally allowed for a 10% increase year over year. There was never necessarily a set price that came with the program for every single year. Since that original contract has dissolved and has kind of not been renewed for an extended period of time, annually we've gone back to eBuilder and have done this process. However, eBuilder was acquired by Trimble to about 2 years ago, and that's one of the reasons the title of this action item is a little long. It's now going under the term, the name Unity Construct. So under new management, we had conversations with Trimble this year, and the price that they provided us, they thought was a fair market value for our use of the program this year, but that they'd be interested in discussions about how we use it and how we price going forward. So while this gets us through April 1st, 2025 to March 31st of 2026, during the next calendar years, we're kind of going through that. We're looking to either optimize opportunities to maybe get a set price or to better understand what the fiscal impact is going to be come the end of the Blue Line project to make sure that that increase doesn't continue to be something that might put us in a tough spot in the future.
All right. Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Other questions or comments for Sarah? I was just going to ask Sarah, after we do construction and what I think you mentioned this a little bit, but just help me understand, how you plan to utilize this kind of post-construction and when we're not kind of actively in construction mode.
That's a great question also. Also something that we're currently looking at. I think that with the upcoming groundbreaking for the Blue Line and starting to recognize that that was kind of the end goal of the program, if you will, when it was originally initiated, we're starting to have those conversations internally to see what it looks like for us to offboard that information from a standpoint in technology and data and where that looks, where that's housed, is that a service? We're trying to do that planning now so that when the day comes and we are finished with our life cycle of e-builder use, that we have an exit strategy.
Yep.
And we don't have to just pay for a license again because we just need our information stored somewhere. So yes, we
You're
are.
reading my mind there.
Yes, this year is going to be a lot of future planning for the program. It's doing a lot of great things. We've been able to leverage it in other ways as well, but we definitely are starting to plan for how we would exit the program when that natural close comes.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
Hearing no other questions, I will ask for a motion and second for consideration and approval of licensing renewal for construction program and project management software e-builder. Can I get a motion?
So
So moved.
Second.
I got my motion in a second. Bob, would you like to do roll call?
Yes, directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Stinson,
Aye.
Quick,
Aye.
Director Fagan, Director Wilson,
Aye.
Director Gardner,
Aye.
Director Hahn.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next up is action item A5, consideration and approval of care center contract. This will be presented by Mr. Michael Roth.
Hi, good evening, directors. Mike Roth, Deputy Chief Transportation Officer. For the consideration and approval of the care center or our call center contract. It is recommended that the IPTC Board of Directors authorize our President and CEO to enter into a contract with MV Transportation Incorporated to provide the essential care center services with a 3-year term for a price not to exceed $4,758,657. There are 2 option years, or there's a possibility of 2 option years. The first year not to exceed $1,698,166, and the second option year not to exceed $1,746,801. If all options are included, that's a 5-year contract, and that is an amount not to exceed $8,203,624. It's also important to mention that this contract begins March the 1st, 2025. So a little bit of background, the IndyGo Care Center or our call center is a vital component to our customer service. It's a one-stop shop for all of our customers that ride all of our modes of service. IndyGo Access customers, which are our paratransit riders, call and book their trips. Then our fixed route and our bus rapid transit customers call in for travel planning, ETA information. So again, that's the one-stop shop for all of our customers that makes it simple. One hub, one number, one call, one go, right? Also, it's important that the care center and the care center agents also are involved in community initiatives that we also provide. And some of those initiatives are low-income fare assistance, half-fare programs, special passes for veterans, My Key program, the Adopt-a-Stop initiatives, and access to retail networks. We did put a request for proposal out, and that was released on November 29th. 3 proposals were received, one from MJM, second one from Welltrans, and the third from MV Transit Incorporated. And based on the overall proposal, MV Transportation was identified as providing the best overall value. The service will be funded through our operating budget and federal formula grant funding, and MV has committed to a 10.5% DBE goal for this solicitation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mike. And I guess before I open it up to questions, I will just mention that in Service Committee this month, we did a deep dive into this issue. And I think that was very helpful. We also, I'll mention, I think our MV team is in attendance as well. And so we were able to have, I think, a fruitful conversation about our passion for improving this service in that partnership. So I just wanted to mention that on the front side of this. Any questions or comments for Michael? Yes.
Michael, can you remind me of if this is our first contract for these services, or if there has been another, and like if there were concerns and that we're certain that those concerns will be addressed and
Sure, absolutely. RATB Dev is the current incumbent. What we did this time with this contract is we separated the services. At one time, we combined the paratransit as paratransit maintenance and the care center for one service. This time we broke the contract out. We wanted to get a little bit more detailed with the customer care center because that requires a different skill set, correct? The concerns have been, current concerns have been staffing, which is a theme. But I know MV has been working, and I know MV will work with hopefully the subcontractor that we currently use, NISI Group, which I'll talk a little bit more about in the next action item. So those concerns will be addressed. They are being addressed now as we speak. And my team, the Mobility Solutions team, will make sure that the contract oversight and that the customer service end of that is happening without
thank you.
fail. You're welcome.
Other questions or comments on this action item?
I've got a question, and just with everything that's going on and all the things we've been dealing with on federal funding, I noticed that the fiscal impact is through the operating budget and federal formula grant funding. Have we got any concerns about that, or I don't know if that came up in your discussions or not?
Greg, that's a great question. No, we don't have any concerns right now about the federal funding. As we know it today, nothing has been mentioned, and hopefully there won't be anything mentioned that would interfere or impact the contract.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Hearing no other questions, I will ask for a motion and a second for consideration and approval of care center contract.
So moved.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, Bob, would you do the roll call?
Yes, directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Stinson,
Aye.
Director Quick, Director Fagan, Director Wilson,
Aye.
Director Gardner,
Aye.
Director Hahn,
Aye.
and carries.
Thank you, everyone. Next up is action item A6, consideration and approval of Care Center Transition Services, NISI Group, Inc. This item will also be presented by Mr. Michael Roth.
Hello again. Good evening, directors. Mike Roth, Deputy Chief Transportation Officer, bringing up consideration and approval for the Care Center or Call Center Transition Services through the NISI Group. It's recommended that the IPTC Board of Directors authorize our President and CEO to enter into up to a 2-month contract with the NISI Group to currently and continue to provide the transitioning services for MV to take over once they transition and we go through that transition plan. The NISI Group right now provides personnel to operate our call center, and currently that contract is with our incumbent, but the ask is that we are going to enter into, again, up to a 2-month contract so that we can transition MV into that role of the provider and allow them to hopefully work with the NISI Group or find another vendor. But the NISI Group is a DBE, and this current contract that we are asking for up to 2 months, that DBE will be reflected in our IndyGo's total DBE goal. And the NISI Group, which is a certified disadvantaged business enterprise, will count, as I said, in our overall goal, and it is funded through operating funds, budgeted and approved as a part of the fiscal 2025 budget appropriation. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mike. Are there any questions on this action item? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion and a second for consideration and approval of the Care Center Transition Services, Nisi Group, Inc. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. I'll count that second one as a second. Bob, would you like to call roll?
Directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Stinson,
Aye.
Director Quick, Director Fagan, Director Wilson,
Aye.
Director Gardner,
Aye.
Director Hahn.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, directors.
Next up is action item A7, consideration and approval of AES streetlights utility relocation agreement presented by Rachel Wilson.
Good afternoon. I'm Rachel Wilson, project manager, and I'm here to present action item A7, which is the recommendation that the board of directors authorize the president and CEO to execute 4 utility relocation agreements, or URAs, with AES Indiana for an amount not to exceed $830,000 to relocate streetlights that are in conflict with the proposed Blue Line BRT design. So some background, there are many utilities that will be impacted by Blue Line construction, and the standard that they provide a work plan that our team looks at in coordination with the design to minimize how much conflict and how much relocation work we have to do. And streetlights are one of those things that we have their work plans and we have all the draft agreements for what they're going to move and when. And often the utilities are reimbursable. Often they pay on their own to do the work, but streetlights are such that we follow what the city of Indianapolis does, and which dictates that they do all the work and we reimburse them for all of that work. So before we execute all those agreements, I'm here to make sure that the funding is a go. And I think that's about it. Thank you. Or I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Rachel. Any questions? I know I got a question. I just wanted to know, Rachel, how many lights are we relocating? as a
I
part of
have
this?
not counted them. I could do that. I have all that information in the files.
Okay. It just might be helpful for some of us just
Yeah.
to know what the scope of that work looks like. Are there other questions or comments?
No, you asked the question I was going to ask. So do we know that, is it all along the route, or is it just like specific areas?
It's along the route, and they broke it down into 4 different segments. You know, the west of downtown, downtown itself, near East Side, and far East Side. I know near East Side, I believe, is the most pricey and the most involved. It's the longest segment. But yeah, I don't have a count. I can do that. And it won't be all at once. It will be ongoing through construction, and they will coordinate closely with the contractor. And some of the work is even in contract a little bit. Some of the underground work Blue Line contractor will do. So a lot of, very close coordination to minimize the pain. Yeah, and actually they're even going to provide some temporary light along the way before the final lighting goes in. So we'll minimize how much dark spans we have.
That's good. Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
I just say, hey, Rachel, I
Yes.
just have been working on some other projects with developers, and this whole issue of replacing municipal lights with AES has come up. And one of the issues, and I don't know if this has come up with us or not, is the replacement of the lights with the new LED lights, and making sure that we're just not getting replacement of the old lights, because there's supposed to be a whole program they're working on to use the new lighting, the new lights. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. And I'm pretty sure that the latest, greatest technology is going back to include the LED. I
Okay,
can double check that, but I'm pretty certain that they will do that.
okay, because I know it was an issue on one other project, so.
Other
Appreciate it.
question,
Excuse me.
other questions or comments for Rachel? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion and a second for consideration and approval of AES Streetlight Utility Relocation Agreement.
So moved.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second,
Thank you. Bob, would you please call roll?
Yeah, directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Stinson,
Aye.
Director Quick,
Aye.
Director Fagan, Director Wilson,
Aye.
Director Gardner,
Aye.
Director Hahn.
aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
This brings us, thank you, Rachel. This brings us to agenda item number 5, information items. First is item I1, the finance report presented by Mr. Bart Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Bart Brown, CFO. This is the December 2024 financial summary, which is actually our year-end financial summary, which was unaudited. We are currently undergoing the audit, which should be completed by June 30th. I will go over just the year-end totals for each of the categories. So under revenue, federal assistance revenue came in over budget for the year, $468,786. Other operating revenue for the year was over budget by $1,544,736. Passenger service revenue for the year was over budget by $201,271. Our PMTF grant came in exactly $11,369,828, which was the budget. Property tax revenue was over budget for the year, $1,349,768. Local income tax was over budget for the year, $1,395,541. And service reimbursement program was under budget, $17,624. Total revenue for the year 2024 was over budget by $4,942,479. Under expenditures, personal services, for the year, it was under budget for fringe benefits by $2,457,866. Overtime expenses were over budget, $2,705,645. And salaries were under budget for the year, $4,684,910. All of personal services category was under budget for the year, $4,437,131. Other services and charges, claims for the year were came in under budget by $511,236. Miscellaneous expense category for the year was over budget, $53,050. Purchase transportation for the year was over budget, $2,844,286. Services expense category was under budget, $3,420,843. And utilities for the year came under budget, $385,744. Overall, the other services category, other charges category was under budget for the year, $1,420,487. Under materials and supplies, fuel and lubricant category for the year was under budget, $349,054. For maintenance materials, the budget was over $76,367. Materials and supplies for the year was under budget, $1,097,267. Finally, tires and tubes came under budget, $76,608 for the year. All total materials and supplies category for the year was under budget, $1,466,562. And all total expenditures were under budget by $7,304,181. And there were no non-budget requests for the month of December. And Mr. Chair, that concludes the report. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Bart. Hey, Bart, did we carry over gas? Did we have gas last that we carried over, or did we?
We did not. We did. Did we carry? Well, we carried over from 23 to 24.
Okay.
But I don't think we did it we did not do it for 24 into
Okay.
25.
Okay,
And the big reason is because we got such a great
right.
price
Yeah.
on gas.
Yep.
We didn't need it. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Any other questions for Bart? Thank you, Bart. Next is action item or information item I2, IndyGo Foundation, February 2025 presentation presented by Miss Emily Moe.
Good afternoon, directors. My name's Emily Moe. I'm the executive director of the IndyGo Foundation, here for our quarterly report to you all. You're controlling? First up, we are in our new office. So we moved in December. This is the Red Line charging station on the north side of the Red Line. We're in Broad Ripple. Fifth Third Bank came in right at the right time to give us a lot of furniture for this space. So we invite you to come visit us. We have lots of places for lunch around there. So just let me know and we'll make it happen. At our January board meeting, we elected our officers for the year. Addison Pollock is continuing as our chair. Also, congratulations to him for becoming a father last week. Hardy Shaw is continuing as our vice chair. And then for the previous few years, we've had the secretary and treasurer positions combined, but we've gotten more sophisticated now and actually need our treasurer to be doing treasurer things. So we split those two out. I wanted to say thank you to Mike Lennox for serving in that position for several years now. But Mickey McAllen is our secretary and Erica Williams is our treasurer. On February 4th, it was Transit Equity Day. The foundation sponsored free fare on that day with over 18,400 free rides. That's between fixed route, BRT, and paratransit. We also hosted our Transit Equity Day celebration that was held at Ivy Tech with about 200 of our donors and grantees there. There was a panel discussion. Thank you to Chairman Hahn and Director Wilson for being there. Hopefully I didn't, and for Jenny for speaking as well. It was a really wonderful event, and we're so grateful to have all of our constituents all together, and so look forward to seeing that continue in the future. Very exciting news. Last week, or maybe it's been a couple weeks now, we launched the IndyGo swag store. I brought my water bottle with me from the swag store. I didn't wear my pullover, but there's lots of things on there for you to purchase. So there's a lot of 50th anniversary items for IndyGo and some IndyGo Foundation items as well. This has been something that's been requested of IndyGo and the foundation for a while, and we've been talking about it with the public affairs team for several years and finally made it happen. I wanted to say thank you to Rachel Moss and our team, and then several people in the public affairs team, Ashley Wright. This has been a lot more a heavier lift than we thought it was going to be, but it's there, and the foundation is able to keep the proceeds or any net profits from it. Not a ton of net profits. I want to preface with that. But what's more valuable to us is for the last several years, we've been trying to find all these transit enthusiasts in Indianapolis. There's not an easy way to find everybody. And this is perhaps the easiest way for us to find people who are willing to, purchase a sweatshirt for IndyGo and show their pride for transit. And so once people make a purchase, they get into our database, and then we can continue to market to them and keep them in the loop and hopefully turn them into donors. Our newest event is coming in May. I gave you all a flyer for it. We're just starting to promote it now. And so it's the Ride and Seek Scavenger Hunt. And this event is focused really on our mission, and it's to get people on the bus and understanding how to ride. We want to get the corporate community engaged, thinking of it like a corporate challenge where companies can have teams, make it a little competitive and have some fun with it. So that's happening May 1st to May 11th. We're encouraging sponsors to sign up by April 15th. And then after that point, we'll invite the general public to participate. With the sponsors, if we reach our sponsorship goal or with the sponsors in place, we will be able to make this event free for the public. So all of IndyGo's riders can participate and community members. And so there will be an app, a scavenger hunt app, where we'll have all different clues directing people to our nonprofit partners, to the airport, to wherever. There'll be fun ways to get people using IndyGo. And they'll be able to get points by the number of scavenger hunt clues that they take advantage of, and there'll be prizes for the winners. So I hope to see you all there. Update on our programs. I know we have at least one new board member who may not be as familiar with our program. So in broad overview of our programs, we couch those all under the Mobility Access Fund, which focuses on increasing economic and physical access to transit. So physical access, we help support the construction of ADA accessible bus stops. And then the economic access is where we have a lot of the not free and discounted bus passes for nonprofit organizations and supporting the discounts that IndyGo gives to veterans and seniors and students. Go to the next slide. So over the last 4 years, and I can't believe it's been 4 years that we've been doing these programs, we have over 250 nonprofit partners combined. Some are only in our grant program, that's the free passes. Some are only in the discount where they purchase 50% off passes. And then some organizations take advantage of both. I keep thinking like every year we're gonna hit critical mass, right? And like run out of nonprofits, but we keep learning about more organizations every day. So it just keeps growing. We did our nonprofit bus fare grants recently. So in the fall, those applications were open. We received 124 applications, the most ever, and we granted 119 of those. We really try to fully fund all the eligible applications we receive. The difference that you see there oftentimes is organizations will apply, and then by the time we grant that or notify them about their grant, they let us know, hey, we still have some passes left over from last year. And so we ask them to use those up before we give them new passes. We had 52 new organizations apply this year. Many of those have not previously purchased fare. So a lot of what we do is education and training their staff on how to ride and then how to train their clients how to ride. And thank you to the Herbert Simon Family Foundation and Glick Philanthropies as the lead sponsors for this round of grants. Every year, as we get more applicants, that raises the bar of how much money we have to raise to be able to fully fulfill these grants. Just an overview for you all about the types of organizations that we're serving. We're reaching, I mean, you all know this, transit reaches every part of the community, and that's reflected in the nonprofits that we serve. And I'm going to kind of skip through the next few slides. I did have all of them listed, but I gave you all our Transit Equity Day handout that has all their names in it too, so you can see them there. There's a lot. It keeps growing. All right. And last up, our fundraising. So in 2024, we had record number of donors. We have over 250 donors right now. That is, I think the jump that you see there, I mean, every year we've grown, but last year was a special growth year. And part of that is it was the first year that we had 2 full-time fundraisers on our staff. And so if you build it, they will come. And we're seeing the fruits of that labor. We had many new corporate and foundation donors. Most of the corporate event sponsors come in through the golf outing. Every year we get a new batch of sponsors through that. But then the foundations and grants, those came through the grant applications that we submitted. And the next slide, you'll see we submitted 74 grant applications last year. I don't have a hard number for how many we did the previous year, but I'm pretty sure this is at least like 2 or 3 times what we've ever done before. And that's having people on staff to be able to submit these requests. Overview of our contributed revenue, just to remind you of where we've been. Every year we've gotten a large grant, and so that's what you see the bump up. Like 2022, there was a $300,000 grant in there from IU Health. 2023, there was a 200 something in there from IAQLI. Last year, we got a $150,000 grant from Eli Lilly and Company Foundation. And so when you remove those big chunks, our contributions are going up every year. And then we continue to hope, or we will continue to go in that direction in 2025. So we recorded last year over $1 million to support IndyGo through grants that we've received. This hasn't all been paid out yet, but this is just what we have on our books that will be directed towards IndyGo. And I wanted to share with you how that money comes through or where you will see it on IndyGo's books. So the majority of that is for the infrastructure for those free and, those ADA accessible bus stops. The next section is through bus passes. I mean, you all know about the bus passes that we purchase. Anytime our nonprofits are buying reduced bus passes or we're giving them away, we're first purchasing those through IndyGo. And then recruitment. So that's supporting the HR function and workforce development, community recruitment at IndyGo. We had a couple free fair days, and then there's a new grant. It's really tiny. It'll be bigger this year. It's to support Wi-Fi on the BRT lines. Coming up, we have a board meeting in March. The Ride and Seek Scavenger Hunt on May 2nd will be our board retreat. We will be getting our board on the bus to participate in the Ride and Seek. So I'll be sure to send you all an invitation too, so maybe we can all get out there together. And then I'll be back to see you all in the middle of May. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. You didn't tell us what prizes we might win for that scavenger hunt. That might entice some people.
Just be cash.
Yeah. All right. Are there any questions for Emily? I guess first I'll just say thank you for the work. It's when you kind of see it in context like that, and for those of us who were around when the foundation was first kind of put into place, it is pretty cool to see the growth of what you guys have been doing. So kudos on that.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Thank you, Emily, for sharing the list of nonprofit grantee partners. I just recently asked some questions surrounding this, so this is very, very timely, very extensive list, and I'm very happy to see such a very extensive list. So just a question outside of the nonprofit grantee partners, can you talk a little bit about the outreach that you all may do to make folks aware who may not be engaged or with one of these nonprofits, to make folks aware of the opportunity to either go through a nonprofit or to come directly to you for some of the discounted or even free passes?
I will say communication and outreach is an area that was identified in our strategic plan that we just completed this past summer. It's a new program area for us that we're just figuring out how to do. For the nonprofit organizations, we last year staffed a full-time individual to only service our nonprofit partners. And that's keeping her very busy processing orders and training, because unfortunately in nonprofit organizations, there's a lot of turnover. And so every time we train someone and then like a few months later, you're back at it again. And so we're doing a good job, I think, with the nonprofits, where our team is part of several of these monthly meetings that happen with bringing together nonprofit partners, like with United Way or with the homeless service providers. But to your point, with the individuals is an area we haven't touched on yet. And so we've really focused on serving the nonprofits, but I look forward to how we can work more with the community. We just this past year, or actually last week, we started a contract with Green Loop Marketing. And so previously we've been using some contracting dollars to support fundraising. And now we're bringing the fundraising expertise on staff, and we're contracting out the marketing side. And so they are now starting to work with us on social media, videos, all the kinds of things. And I think that's where we'll start to see more outreach to individuals. So,
thank you.
Yep. Else?
Thanks, Emily. Just want to, as we close, just want to thank everyone for attending this this month's board meeting, and special thanks to all of you and all of our operators and staff and team members that help to keep us taking care of our city. And so with that, I will adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everyone.